Hello and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today's topic is the Temple of Jerusalem, and that's why we came to the Temple Institute. We're going to talk a little bit about the first and second Temple of Jerusalem, but we're going to see the utensils that were made for the third Temple of Jerusalem, and that will be the focus of today. So if you're ready, let's get started. Welcome to the Temple Institute. This place was founded in 1984 by Rabbi Israel Ariel. And the idea of the place is to study and also teach about the first and second Temple of Jerusalem. But they also want to prepare for the construction of the third Temple of Jerusalem. But before we talk about the third temple, let's talk about the first and second. The first temple was built 3,000 years ago on Mount Moriah by King Solomon. And the instructions for the construction of the temple are in the Torah, in the Bible. From the building materials of the temple, its size, which utensils should be placed in the temple, the priest's clothes are all very well detailed, and therefore, thanks to the Bible and also to archaeology, we can understand how the temple worked and what it looked like. This beautiful and colossal temple will be destroyed by the Babylonians, and 70 years later, it will be rebuilt by the Jews when they return from exile in Babylon. The temple will later be renovated by King Herod, but it will be destroyed for the second and last time in the year 70 by the Romans. And since then, the people of Israel lived without a temple, and it was a gigantic change. The temple was the heart of the people of Israel. And that's why we can be in this place, is to connect with the history of the people of Israel, and also, in a certain way, with its future. The Institute is gigantic, and there is a lot we can talk about here inside. But today, I want to show you some of the utensils they prepared for the third Temple of Jerusalem. And starting, I think, with one of my favorites. Come with me to see the priest's clothes. Let's go. The people of Israel are divided into 12 tribes, and each tribe is different from the other. But there was one tribe that was very different from all the others, which is the tribe of Levi. It was so different that at the time when the lands of Israel are divided among them, Levi did not receive any piece of land, but rather God will be their inheritance. They are going to be priests and the people who take care of God's work. Now, within the tribe of Levi, there was a family called the family of Cohen. The first Cohen of all is Aaron, Moses' brother. And they will be the priests of the temple. And because of that, they had some different things. Among them, we are going to see here the clothes of the Cohen. But what does this beautiful outfit have that's different? We remember the verse from Deuteronomy 22:11, where it is written, "Do not wear clothes of wool and linen mixed in the same fabric." This is a rule for all the people of Israel. With the exception of those who were priests in the temple, they indeed had clothes that mixed wool and linen. The white clothing that we see on the priest, it is all made of wool. And the red part embroidered on the belt, it is made of linen. And now I want to open up with you the high priest's clothing, folks. This outfit is luxury. To give you an idea, this outfit here, for it to be developed, it cost more than 500,000 shekel, which, folks, is more than 800,000 reais. But why is it so expensive? Due to the materials his clothes were made from.
It's very well explained in the book of Exodus, chapters 28 and 29.
And we will now see some parts of this clothing, starting with the breastplate. We can see that there are 12 stones. Each of these stones represents one of the tribes of Israel. And since these stones are all precious or semi-precious, this already increases the cost of the clothing. In addition, the golden base that we are seeing is really made of gold. And on the stones, we can also see written in Hebrew the name of each of the tribes. And looking closely at the details of the breastplate, which in Hebrew we call Roshan, we can see that the chains and ropes and also the rings are made of gold. In addition, on the breastplate itself, among the colored threads, there are very thin threads of gold, which make the clothing a bit shiny. And also part of the priest's clothes, including, are embroidered in gold, like in this other part that we are seeing here now. And here at the end of the clothes, we can see that there are bells. You can hear them. And these bells are traditional of the high priest's clothing. And one thing I find amazing is that one of these bells was found in the archaeological excavations of the city of David. And the last piece of the high priest that we are going to talk about is his crown, as it is written in Exodus 28, 36 and 37. You shall also make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, holiness to the Lord. And you shall fasten it on with a blue cord, so that it is on the turban, it shall be on the front of the turban. That is, this gold plate with Hebrew inscriptions, it is tied over the turban, which is the high priest's turban. And another thing that is here is the hatzrotza, which is the trumpet. These trumpets were used by the Levites. And as you know, or at least those who have seen some of the other videos here on the channel, the family on my mother's side were Cohen, and that means they are also from the tribe of Levi, so they invited me here also to play it. It is made of pure silver, and it is played by the Levites in the temple at the time sacrifices were made and at other festive moments. So let's go, it's heavy. Well, those who know how to play well, the sound comes out a little more pleasant at the moment in the Temple of Jerusalem. Hundreds of Levites with musical instruments, with harps, with violins, which are not the same as today's violins with trumpets. I mean, it's a very emotional moment, and also accompanied by these musical instruments. Here on our side we see the altar of incense. The use of incense is a fundamental work of the temple. That's why it had many and many details. It was made, the altar itself, and this one too, folks, it is made according to biblical instructions. The altar itself, it is made of cedar wood, covered in gold. Now, when they are going to rebuild the utensils, there is a problem. What technique are you going to use? They took, and according to archaeological excavations that were made in Egypt, according to findings from the pyramids, they understood what techniques the Egyptians also used at that time, and that's why they made based on these same techniques. So it's made of wood, covered in gold. In the temple, twice a day, the incense was lit. And the incense is a mixture of 11 different species. We can see here this mixture, which is of 10. Why of 10 and not of 11? Because we can't recreate this mixture that isn't for the temple itself. So, they have here little pots with the 11 species, but when they mix, they only do up to 10. And wow, guys, you have no idea how delicious the smell is. It's quite different from what we're used to, but really very good. And then it's not in little pieces. You would put it here, beat it, and make a powder. The incense was a powder placed on top of coals, and it burned and perfumed the Jerusalem temple. And the art of making this incense, making it the right way, was the job of a specific family, the Aftinas family. Lighting the incense was a huge honor, and all the priests wanted to do it. And so, to be fair, a lottery was held among the priests, and it was decided who would be the one to light the incense altar that very day. Here we are seeing a slightly different utensil in the temple. This here is the table of breads, We know that there was at least one inside the temple, but there could be more. Here at the Temple Institute, they only recreated one, which is what we see here on the side. Here, every Saturday on Shabbat, 12 breads were placed. Why 12? Because of the 12 tribes of Israel. The bread stayed here on the table for a whole week. And on the following Shabbat, the following Saturday, new breads were brought, and these breads here were distributed among the priests. And they could eat, of course, the more tables, the more breads. Each one could take a bigger piece. If there were fewer tables, a smaller piece. This exhibition room, it shows the center of the Jerusalem temple, the most important inner part. Here was the altar of incense, the table of breads. Also, folks, behind me here, the Holy of Holies, which we will talk about in a little bit. But what also could not be missing in the central part of the temple is the menorah candle. Now, folks, what you're seeing here behind me, it's not the original. The original, it's on the street, it's exposed so that everyone can see. It was made of gold, folks. It cost over $1 million to make, and it's out on the street here in Israel for everyone to see. It also reminds us that Israel is indeed a safe country. But the menorah, the candelabrum, is of no use if it doesn't have oil, because it is a candelabrum, it is an oil candelabrum. So down here, there are these little plastic pots that are transparent, so we can see the oil inside. And there is also a large amount stored inside each of these ceramic vessels. Because, of course, in the time of the Jerusalem temple, it was not plastic but ceramic. And they put this oil, which is extra virgin olive oil, the best possible quality, they put it on top, on each of the arms of the menorah's candelabrum, and they lit it. And this was used to illuminate the Jerusalem temple. And that's why the menorah, this candelabrum, is the symbol of the people of Israel throughout history. We see this symbol represented in synagogues all over the world, in Jewish communities all over the world, and even today we have this little coin that you are seeing now on the screen, which shows the menorah and is also the official symbol of the state of Israel to this day. So, folks, the menorah is one of the symbols, if not the most important symbol of all the people of Israel. But I know what you want to see. You want to come with me to see the Holy of Holies. So let's go. And here by our side we see the parish, this cloth that separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the time. For example, only the high priest could enter here, and only one day a year. The day of Yom Kippur, the day of forgiveness, the most important day of the Jewish calendar. Let's now open. Obviously, this is not the original Holy of Holies. Here we are seeing what it looked like.
Where is the Holy of Holies located?
The Holy of Holies, it is nowadays on the Temple Mount, at the place where Abraham was to sacrifice his son Isaac. The utensils that are here in the Institute, they are all utensils made to be used in the third temple of Jerusalem, with one exception. The Ark of the Covenant. As beautiful as it is a replica that helps us understand what the original looked like. Because the importance of the Ark of the Covenant is what was inside it, especially the tablets of the law with the 10 Commandments. When the Babylonians destroyed the Temple of Jerusalem 2,600 years ago, the Ark of the Covenant disappeared. But the reality is that in the second temple of Jerusalem, there was no ark. The place, the Holy of Holies, remains, but the ark was no longer there, and therefore, at least until now, as far as we know, the third temple for now does not have an ark. Here we talk about the future of the people of Israel and the third temple of Jerusalem. But I always like to also connect with our past and our history. Look, this stone here to me is actually one of the most important things that are in here. This stone that you are seeing here with these geometric designs and this flower, it is a piece of the Huldah gate. That is, it is a piece of the Second Temple of Jerusalem. And I find it amazing that they managed to find and bring this archaeological piece to this location. So we are here talking about the second, the first, and the third Temple of Jerusalem in one place. Here at the Temple Institute, practically all the utensils for the temple have been recreated, but it is important to note that the construction of the temple itself on Mount Moriah, the place where the Dome of the Rock is located today, has not begun, and there is no date for the construction to begin. So, the temple utensils, yes, are being made, but the Jerusalem temple is not yet. We are reaching the end of the Temple Institute, and here is a place where we can know and also touch the past. For example, here we can see the 12 stones that are each one for one of the tribes of Israel. And here we can also, for example, see the 11 incenses, because we can't have all of them mixed, but each one separately we can have. So we can open and smell the incenses of the Jerusalem temple, touch the stones, see the garments. It's a way for us to connect with the past and with the future. I hope you enjoyed learning a little more about the Jerusalem Temple and the Temple Institute, and we'll see you next time.